Good evening, Range of Beauties, and welcome to the Pink Politics Show. Last week, the Supreme Court heard arguments in a racial discrimination case involving the racist propaganda machine Comcast and African-American businessman Byron Allen. Comcast CEO Brian Roberts and his dutiful lawyer are asking the court to overturn the Civil Rights Act of 1866. Byron Allen, on the other hand, is asking the court to uphold the law so that he and other African Americans can be included in an American economy that was sadly built on the backs of our enslaved ancestors. Supreme Court justices do not announce their decisions on cases right away, so we the public are left uncertain as to whether the Supreme Court will leave intact the civil rights law that protects Black Americans against racial discrimination. But while we're kept in suspense about the 9 justices' ruling, it is important to point out the identity of the lawyer who's working on behalf of a racist who's been sued countless times. We've told you in the past that the Democratic Party is using voters from Black American women's community to empower Hispanics and themselves. One of the people that Black American women voters have empowered is Sonia Sotomayor. Sotomayor is ironically one of the 9 judges who will be determining the fate of the pivotal 19th century civil rights law that was created for Black Americans at a time when Sotomayor's family was still in their country of origin, Puerto Rico, and still under Spanish rule. But not only will a judge whose family wasn't even in the United States during the time that the law was written decide the fate of your rights in your country, but a Hispanic lawyer is fighting to dismantle it. In case you don't know, Comcast hired an attorney named Miguel Estrada. Estrada is a non-Black Hispanic immigrant who was born in Honduras. That means that we possibly have an illegal immigrant who has no right to be here, who is breaking the law, seeking to overturn your civil rights law in the Supreme Court of all places. But why did Brian Roberts hire a man who's possibly in the United States illegally? Well, hiring a white lawyer, even a white woman, to fight against our civil rights law would have been inflammatory and blatantly racist. It would have conjured up images of an evil white person seeking to keep us unequal before the court of law. And a Black person could not in good conscience ask the nation's highest judicial tribunal to overturn a law that protects all Blacks, including Black immigrants, against racial discrimination and economic exclusion. So Brian Roberts found someone who doesn't identify as Black or white. This slick move by Roberts was supposed to take out 2 birds with 1 stone. Firstly, it's supposed to silence any complaints of racism. How could Estrada, who's not white, be a racist? He's Hispanic. But of course, we all know that A, many non-Black Hispanics are very racist towards Black Hispanics in particular and Black people in general, and B, many Hispanics who are brought into our country by American politicians will undermine Black Americans in every conceivable way to gain favor with white Americans and people who appear to be white with American citizenship. It's also worth mentioning that Brian Roberts is using a Hispanic lawyer to undermine our rights because it makes his corrupt company Comcast appear to be more diverse. And yet that is exactly what he's fighting against. Roberts pretends to be practicing diversity by hiring an ambitious Hispanic lawyer to do his treacherous work while at the same time fighting against diversity for Black Americans. But Estrada would not be able to fight against our civil rights if we didn't vote for Democrats. Keep in mind that the Democrats are the main ones who bring immigrants in general and Hispanic immigrants in particular to the U.S. When we vote for Democratic candidates, it allows them to win elections and go on to push pro-immigration policies that not only threaten our economic and political well-being, but also, as we now see, our civil rights. Miguel Estrada is willing to help Comcast CEO Brian Roberts dismantle the Civil Rights Act of 1866 because he has no genetic or historical ties to Black American women's community, or for that matter, the United States of America. All he knows is that he's in our country now, and if obtaining what many immigrants consider to be the American dream, which includes a so-called Western education, A good job, a house, and a green card means undermining the less politically and economically powerful founding group, i.e. Black Americans, to gain favor and a check from white Americans, then undermining Black Americans is exactly what he'll do. But I bet you that Estrada would more than likely never attack DACA the way that he's attacking our civil rights law right now. He would use his lawyerly skills, if anything, to stop the Republicans from ending the DACA program. But again, this is why we have to stop voting for the Democratic Party. Now, the Democrats, believe it or not, are just as racist as the Republicans. And since immigration, whether legal or illegal, is the most important problem facing Black American women's community today, many might argue that the Democrats' pro-immigration policies make them far more harmful to Black Americans than the Republicans, who for the most part have hardline immigration policies. Our criticisms of the Democrats, however, does not imply that a vote for the Republicans would be a less harmful or a better choice. We are not implying that at all. Republicans hurt Black Americans in many different ways. All we're simply saying is that Comcast and MSNBC owner Brian Roberts has hired an immigrant who is in your country because of the Democrats' pro-immigration policies to roll back your civil rights. And let's not forget that almost all of the 2020 Democrats are staying silent about the Supreme Court case involving your civil rights.
What specifically would you do with the thousands of people who try to reach the United States every day and want a better life through asylum?
Immediately on January 20th of 2021, I will, first of all, we cannot forget our DACA recipients, and so I'm going to start there. I will immediately, by executive action, reinstate DACA status and DACA protection to those young people. I will further extend protection for deferral of deportation for their parents and for veterans, who we have so many who are undocumented and have served our country and fought for our democracy.
So, today I did another plan. And this one is about immigration. And it starts with a basic premise, and that is immigration makes America stronger.
The best way to pay back Roberts, MSNBC, and the Democratic Party for bringing in an immigrant to vigorously challenge your hard-won political rights is to not vote for 2020 Democratic candidates. And if Comcast continues its attack and the Democrats don't speak out against it, then don't ever vote for a Democrat again. For over 50 years, the Democrats have used your vote to help immigrants. And immigrants such as Miguel Estrada, in turn, are helping Comcast, a company that supports Democratic candidates, attack your civil rights. That's why staying home on Election Day 2020 is the best independent vote that you, as a Black American woman, can cast. Thank you for joining us. I'm Taylor Washington, and this is Pink Politics, where Black womanhood and politics converge.